What's up everybody, welcome to another Python 3 recipe. In today's video we're going to talk about named tuples in Python. So here the problem statement is your code is getting harder and harder to read because you're accessing elements in a sequence by positional arguments, by position and indices, and which makes it very hard to maintain, very hard to read, and you try to make your code cleaner. So for example, let's get back to our comment example that we had before, where each comment is a tuple with the first element in the tuple being the name of the author, the second element being the content of the comment, the third being the number of likes, and the fourth being the date that the comment was made. So here you have your tuple, and with tuples, the way to have specific information, let's say we are trying to get the number of likes, we will have to do it this way. You have 5, which is the number of likes of this comment. But you agree with me, having that everywhere around is not very clear, especially if you're doing it in multiple places. You may want to do it better way. And in Python, there is a better way. And they are called named tuples. So without further ado, let's see what they are. Let's run this first code snippet here. Here, like we saw, we have the date, which itself is a tuple. So that's why I'm constructing a date named tuple. And we have the comment, which is a tuple also. That's why I'm constructing a named tuple called comment. And also, just for sake of completeness, you don't have to name these and these the same. They don't have to be named the same way. And here we are, we have constructed named tuples constructors. Now let's try to use them to build an actual named tuple object. For that, let's run this code snippet and see what we get. So here we have now pretty much the same thing that we got before, but now the difference is that on top of being positional, on top of the position being respected, so here we have junior, which is the author, at the first position, the content at the second, the number of likes at the third, and the date at the fourth. We also have kind of keywords attached to each position, which is hence the name named tuples, because each position in the tuple has a name now. The author is the name of the first one, the content is the name of the second one, and so on and so forth. And you can access this information this way. So let's say now we want to access the author of the comment. Let's run this snippet. As you can see, we have both ways, the named tuple ways and the very old ways. They are all the same. They are very much equivalent, but with the very big difference that this one is much more readable. And believe me, it is. When you have this everywhere around in the code, it's kind of get confusing what is really what. So if you have this instead, it makes it very clear to people reading your code and to yourself what is the information in the tuple you're trying to access. And also to check, to confirm that these are very much equivalent, the is condition in Python enables you to check if two Python objects are the same, and indeed they are. So accessing the tuple element this way or this way returns the same Python object actually. So these are very much equivalent, but this way of doing is much more readable. And once again, we have a nested tuple. We can have also nested way of accessing the information in them. So here we are trying to get the year, and we have 3 ways that we have printed here how we can do that. And actually you have even 4 ways actually. You can do it in 4 different ways. So let's add the 4th here, live. You can say we have 4 ways to access the year in the nested named tuples to get the year. And here for this snippet is about showing that the way you initialize the named tuple is you can actually mix positional and keyword arguments. So let's look at the date. The way we are instantiating the date, unlike what we did here before, where we were creating it for the first time here, we actually assigned only positional arguments here. Same thing for the elements of the comment. They were just positional arguments. But also here you can actually create keywords arguments, so you can pass in the date first, the author second, the comment, the number of likes, and the content. You can mix the orders as long as you put the keywords arguments. And if you do mix both keywords arguments and positional arguments, you have to make sure that the positional arguments come first, and then the ones for which you are specifying the keywords arguments come after. So that's what we are doing for this date sub name tuple within another name tuple here, and you can see it works pretty well. It works the same way that we did before, and same thing like we did for for regular tuples. Sequences unpacking still works, so here we can get each separate information within the name tuples like we did before with just tuples, by just unpacking them this way, and you see it works pretty well. It works exactly the same way. And finally, just so you know, name tuples, just so you to confirm with you, name tuples are tuples actually. They are just special case of tuples. So here we are checking this syntax is instance is checking if this date is an instance of the tuple class, and same thing for the other two, and we see 3 truths. So indeed, date is a tuple. It's just a specialized tuple. So everything that applies for tuple, namely indices access like we did here with slice, the slice syntax, or unpacking, unpacking, everything still applies. On top of that, you have the decoration, you have the name which decorates every position in the tuple. But you may say, oh wow, everything that we have done so far, what is the difference between a name tuple and an object? Because this is also how you get an attribute from an object. In Python, you just do dot then the name of the attribute. Well, the big difference is that name tuples as tuples are immutable. So you cannot edit a name tuples the same way you can't edit a tuple in Python. If this comment was an object, you would have been able to edit it, to change, to set a new value for each of its attributes. But you cannot do that, because the same reason why you couldn't do this for tuples in Python is the same reason why you can't do it for name tuples, because everything that applies for tuples applies for name tuples once again. So be careful if you're trying to replace everything in your code by name tuples. Be aware that they are immutable, only applies when you're replacing tuples by name tuples. So with that, we have reached the end of this video. Hopefully you find something useful and informative from this, and if the case, please give it a thumbs up, and feel free to ask any question in the comment section down below. I'll do my best to answer all of them. And as always, you can find the code for this recipe in the description of the video. Be sure to subscribe for future videos, and see you later. Bye.